going to start actually lying down. Oh, yes, Oscar is here. Can't wait to see Jackson when he appears. And, bring your hula hoop down to the ground with you. You just have it placed on top of your thighs, have your knees bent, and then have your feet pretty wide. How, yay, Jackson is there. This is the dog's favorite time. I love it. And then knock your knees in towards each other. From there, just settle in. Allow yourself to just feel restful on the ground. Feel how much of your back is on the ground itself. Notice how your breathing is. Not trying to change anything yet, just noticing. Checking in with the points of your body that you were just talking about a minute ago from weightlifting and doing other activities that are kind of speaking to you today. Just acknowledge those places and let them know that we'll get there today. And then take a deep inhale through the nose, feeling the expansiveness of your breath. And exhale out your mouth. Do that one more time. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. And then begin to draw your attention a little bit more inward. Begin to try and slow down your breathing to about 6 seconds of an inhale. And about 6 seconds of an exhale. It's said that on the inhalation, the tension kind of arises. And on the exhalation is when our body begins to relax. So with every exhalation, try to see where you can relax a little bit more in your body. See how just how much you can stretch your skin by inhaling so deeply. And feel how just much more can you relax and soften on the exhale. For the next 10 to for as many seconds as you can, try to extend the inhalation to as long as you're able to, and extend the exhale for as long as you're able to. And I'll be quiet for a few moments and check back in very soon. If you find yourself on an inhale again, think of how far can the inhale reach. Can you reach it all the way down to your pubic area, and all the way up to every single hair on your head? Can you feel the breath expand down into the floor, even out of your toes, while also breathing into every single fingernail. If your low back is on the ground right now, noticing everywhere that is on the ground, if that low back is, think of those inner thighs that are already drawing towards one another. Think of those inner thighs drawing down towards the earth to help find that arch again. Even on the inhale and the exhalation, can you try to make that arch feel as though it's expanding and your spine is getting longer? We're going to be doing some work today for our low back health. And whenever you have an injury, it's usually something is happening below where that injury is. So we'll be working a lot with our legs and making sure the base of our legs is supporting our low back, as well as everything above from there. The more space we can create in our lower body, the lighter that we become to feel, as well as the more grounded we become to feel. It's an interesting thing. But from there, let's go ahead and bring our feet together. Just notice how you're feeling by slowing down the breathing. Notice how your brain feels, and notice how your body feels. With the feet together, keep the hula hoop. If it's not already, yep, it is on Kim, and I think it is on, yep, perfect. So keep the hula hoop right at the tops of your thighs at the hip crease. And then, again, even from here, see if having your knees together, if that low back, again, kind of started to flatten, and bring the pubic bone down. And then draw that right knee in towards the chest and hold on to that leg with your hands. Stay grounded in that left leg. Think of the inner thigh of that left leg coming in and down. And from there, let's go ahead and hold on to the hula hoop. Have it right there at the tops of your thigh. Press into the hula hoop while the thigh is pressing into the hoop. And keep that action. Have the heel pressing further out than the toes. And then slowly begin to extend that heel up towards the sky while still having that sensation of pressing the hand to the hoop while the thigh is pressing into the hoop. And then breathe deeply here, extending through the inner heel of that lifted leg. Take a couple breaths there. And then lower that left leg, but bring the hula hoop so that it's underneath the lifted thigh now. And then lower that left leg down onto the mat. Make sure that the thigh of the left leg is really pressing down onto the mat. And the way to make sure that that happens is, again, to think of those inner groins coming down towards the mat. And notice how, making sure that the left foot is flexed. But notice how when you bring your pubic bone, your inner groins down towards the ground, that left thigh stays a little bit more on the earth. but the right leg kind of lowers as well slightly. From there, holding onto the hula hoop with both hands and using your hands, pressing the hoop towards your face while the thigh is moving away. And then turn the right toes out towards the right. Inner heel is facing in. And then slowly bring that foot out towards the right, having this hula hoop on the outside of the thigh to have it there to just slowly guide it down while also pressing into the outer thighs, doing this dual action of letting the hoop or letting the thigh slowly win against the hoop, but not without a fight. And then try to turn those toes down towards the earth a little bit more, those right toes, so that you can feel that external rotation all the way up into the inner thigh. Notice what's going on with your breathing. Take one more breath here. And then raise it back up to the sky. Bring your right hand out to the T, to shoulder height, and hold on with the hoop only with your left hand, and then bring that foot across. Yay, nice stretch and spinal twist. Come back up to center. Then bring this hoop to the top of your foot, your lifted foot. Think of both inner thighs drawing down towards the earth while pressing the lifted heel up. Trying to keep that left thigh as much on the earth as possible and still keeping that arch of the low back. Then holding on to the hoop with both hands, extending through that right heel. We'll slowly bring it down, extending through that heel all the way until it meets the left foot on the earth. Take a moment there just to see if there is any more space in one leg than the other. Allowing the body just to take a moment. And then bend both knees, bringing both feet onto the ground. Bring the hoop to the tops of your thighs. Bring that left knee in towards the middle. Hold on to that leg with your hands. And then slowly bring it up to the sky. You can bring your hands to the top of the hoop and kind of press your hand, the hoop into the thigh into the hoop. And breathe into the low belly. And then lift the bottom of the hoop so that you can bring it up into the hamstring of the lifted leg, and then extend that right leg down. Turn the inner thigh of that right leg closer to the earth than the outer hip. And really try to think of the inner groins wrapping down towards the earth to find that low back arch, and to also help that leg, that right leg on the ground to be on the earth as much as possible. From there, use both hands on the hoop to help pull that lifted leg towards you while the leg is fighting it. And then turn the toes out towards the left. And slowly bring it out towards the left. Having the hoop coming towards the right while the left leg comes out towards the left. It's kind of there as a safety net, letting your leg not just flop open and jump there and get there too soon, but to let it take its time. And also, it's not a struggle. I know we're saying that it's a little bit of a fight of the of the hoop against the leg and the leg against the hoop, but it's a really nice fight. If you feel like you can turn those left toes slightly more down towards the earth, go ahead and try to do so. Check back in with the right thigh, make sure it's still on the ground. You can even use that hula hoop to press the right thigh down. And see if you can hear your inhales and exhales. On the next inhale, go ahead and bring that leg back to the sky and cross it over. Bringing that left hand out to a T. Keeping the left shoulder on the mat. And knowing you can mess around with, do you want to bring the leg higher towards the nose, or do you think it should come closer towards the bottom of the mat? You can kind of see what it's like to do either or. Then we'll inhale that foot back up to the ceiling. Staying here for 2 breaths with the hoop behind the hamstring. If you ever get a cramp in your leg from trying to flex the foot too much, you can always point and do some ankle circles a little bit. And then from there, bring your hoop to the foot. And press the heel, the inner heel, up towards the ceiling. Try to see if you can make the inside of that leg longer than the outside of the leg. Trying to think more about muscularly how long can you get rather than how long can your bones get. But how long can all those tendons and all those different connective tissues and muscles, can you let them all stretch towards the sky while still keeping that right thigh down the ground? And then extend through the heel all the way as you bring that foot to the earth, letting go of the hoop whenever it seems appropriate for you. Let both legs just flop open for a second. And breathe deep into your whole pubic area. Feel the inner thighs fill up with breath, and let that breath go all the way down the shins, the calves, the ankles, and the feet. Rather than the breath coming upward, breathe downward. It's the moments of stillness that your body gets to create some more knowledge. We have the action to create awareness. And it's with stillness that we can find a little bit more awareness. Then we'll roll over and get to our hands and knees. So you can place the hula hoop in the middle of the mat, and then we'll bring our knees on the inside, our feet on the outside, our hands on the outside. I don't think I did the best here. I'm gonna just turn this down for a minute. Doot, doot, doot. We got this new tripod that's a little bit too big, I think. I'm trying to figure out how to use it in my living room. Anyways, bringing your hands on the outside of the hoop, the knees on the inside, feet on the outside. And we're gonna find cat-cows here, but before we do so, try to bring more attention where you can lift the middle knuckles of your fingers up and off the ground. And then feel the base of the fingers kind of root down on the ground to where you could even lift the base of your wrist up off the earth. But then rather than even feeling weight in the fingertips and like the fingerprints, Just feel them right there, right at the very base of your fingers. Then from there, check and see if you can see your toes, and if you can, try to hide them behind your legs. And we'll find those cat-cows this way. So inhale, we'll lift the tailbone and lift the gaze. And on the exhale, we'll round. On the inhale, can you think of even past your pubic area, energetically thinking as if you're growing past your pubic area. And on the exhale, your pubic bone is moving past the knees, towards the wrists. Taking your inhales and exhales, just seeing how long can you get, and how long can you get when you even crunch. You're still long when you round your back. But think of this long string from the crown of your head all the way through the middle to where it's even longer than your body when you extend and round. Take a couple more. Your choice if you want to go slow or if you want to go fast. And then find neutral. Feel the sternum that's in the middle of your chest. Feel that moving forward while the inner groins are moving back, even while you're finding neutrality. From there, bring the front body towards the back body and try to expand a little bit more to where it almost feels like you're arching, but you're not totally. And then we'll turn those toes under, lift the knees up and off the ground, and then slowly bring our hips towards the sky. You can keep the knees bent at first. Really think of those inner thighs, those inner groins moving diagonally up. Try to stay grounded in the base of the toes, just as you were in the base of the hands, to where you can feel like you can lift the toes off of the ground and still feel grounded. And then extend the base of the feet back to the back of the mat and see how that brings your sit bones back. Maybe feeling like your arms can possibly get a little bit longer. Think of being very, very light in the arms. And if you haven't already, you can slowly begin to straighten the legs, thinking of the calves moving away from each other, thinking of the inner thighs moving away from each other, but up towards the ceiling. And then bring that pubic bone towards the sky. Let your low back really arch. Still keeping that low spine arch with the inner groins moving up to the sky. Think of the heart reaching towards the thumbs. Take a deep inhale and exhale here. Seeing how far can the breath go. And then slowly walk your hands back to your feet. We'll inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. And do that once more. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. And then pick up the hoop and we'll go all the way up high to the sky. And exhale, come down, bring the hands and the hoop to the tops of your thighs. So I know that Kim did this practice with me a while ago about nutation and counter nutation, and it's about what is going on with our hips and our pubic area when we are finding back bends or extension of the spine. And so when we find extension of the spine, that's when we have those inner groins coming in and back. Well, not technically in, but they're moving back. And that happens when that gets us this Beyonce booty, when the inner thighs move back, that helps find this curvature from the very base of our spine, even past, even by like our tailbone, and move all the way up. So when we find little back bends today, think of the pubic bone moving back, which helps bring the tailbone to go back. But even as, and this is where it gets funny, even as the inner groins are moving back, can the tailbone be a little heavy still? Not that it's tucking, it's just being heavy. So from there, you can bring your hands on top of the hoop, inner thighs drawing behind you. Let's inhale and lift the heart up towards the sky and bring the shoulders down the back, thinking of the elbows moving in towards one another, and think how far, how high can I get my heart to the ceiling? And could the shoulder blades moving in towards one another, can that lift my heart a little bit higher? Since the shoulder blades are right behind the heart. And relax and come back to what you would sense as neutral. And just take notice, does anything feel different? So I'm not sure how wide your feet are, but can they get as a little bit wider than hip width apart? Almost as wide as your mat. And then we'll hold on to the hoop with both hands and inhale, lift the hoop to the sky. Maybe even find a little teeny tiny back bend or big back bend, depending on how good your back feels right now. And then exhale, fold over the hoop, bring it to the tops of your thighs. Then inhale, flat back, press the hoop to the tops of the thighs. And exhale, fold. With wide legs, let's go ahead and walk our hands out, finding our downward facing dog. And press the hips back. Think of the inner thighs drawing away from one another. And think of the ears moving in between the biceps. Take one more breath here. And exhale. And come on up to tippy toes, let the hoop fall. From here, your feet are wide. Your shoulders are moving back. Let's bring our knees down for just a moment. Check back in with the base of the fingers. See how much work that the hands can be doing without the help of the legs. And then come to the base of the toes, not the toes themselves, and lift back up to plank. Really checking in with the base of the toes and let the legs get really active, more active than the arms. Think of the inner thighs drawing skyward, the outer hips moving down, the belly really engaged, the sternum moving forward, and then raise that right leg and just see how much did you move. And exhale, bring it down. Inhale the left leg. And then exhale, bring it down. Come back to down dog for a quick rest. Bring the toes closer together. And inhale the right foot to the sky. Let's open up, stacking the hips, bend the knee. And then straighten the leg. We're going to go wide with this one, so we're going to bring that leg around and then to the top of the mat on the outside of that right hand. Bring that back knee down to the earth. And then from here, so this right leg, this right knee is moving out towards the right just slightly. Your hands are both on the inside. You can come up to the fingertips as if there's a big ball underneath your hand. And then draw the shoulders down the spine while the crown of the head moves skyward, while the hips are moving downward. Tap back into that back foot. Their toes are curled under. Come to the base of the toes again. And allow the base of the toes of that back leg being the one that helps this front thigh move a little bit back. And then bring the pubic bone down. Inner thighs are still drawing back even as the pubic bone is reaching down. And come down onto your hands and lift that back leg up and off of the earth. And then reach this foot back. Find yourself in plank pose. And exhale to down dog. We'll inhale, come back to plank. Oh, that's right. Down dog again. Inhale the left leg to the sky. Open and stack the hips, bending the knee, bringing that left foot towards the left booty. Still drawing that right thigh back while the left knee is going skyward. And then straighten the leg. And we'll bring that foot around to the left as you come out to plank and then stepping it forward. Bring that back knee down. So we're still drawing this front knee into the left arm. Inner thighs drawing back. Feeling really grounded in that back foot, using the power of that back leg to almost feel super light in the front leg. Trying to make our sit bones even with one another, and then think of the sit bones pressing, the sit bones moving away from one another to help open up the groin area and see how that feels, and bring your sternum forward. Can you bring the inner thighs back? Sit bones away. And then pubic bone down. Go ahead and bring the hands flatter on the earth. No more ball underneath. And then lift that back knee up and off the ground. Stay here for a couple breaths. Thinking of lifting that back thigh high to the sky while the pubic bone is still moving down. And then bring this front foot back. We'll find ourselves in plank pose and downward facing dog. Bringing the big toes closer to one another. We'll inhale that right foot to the sky. And exhale, step it forward in between the hands. We'll find a high lunge, bringing this hoop to the outside of that front foot. And then inhale this left hand up towards the sky. Exhale, bring it down. Take a moment here again. Get to the very top of those toes of the back foot. And come back down to try to find where the base of the toes are from there. Both inner thighs drawing back behind you. Pubic bone moving back behind you. And start to find that little bit of arch. And then reach that left hand back up again. And maybe possibly past the ear. Try to feel this long extension from the base of that back heel all the way out the fingertips of this lifted hand. Exhale, bring it back down. And then we'll flatten this back foot to a warrior one. So the back toes are pointing to the left corner of your mat. From here, we'll bring the hoop behind us, walking the hands down the hoop. Get really grounded in this front foot. Use the heel of this front foot to help bring the inner thighs of both of the legs back. Pubic bone back. We don't usually find a super arch here in the warrior one, but today we're going to. And then from here, having this hoop behind us, let's let that pubic bone move back and inhale the heart moving up. You can use the hula hoop behind your heart to help guide the heart up and back. And then when you find yourself on an exhale, go ahead and straighten that front leg. If you want to bring the feet closer together, please, you're more than welcome to do so. You're also welcome to make them wider as well, meaning bringing that right foot out more towards the right. And then from here, we'll go ahead and exhale, forward fold, bringing the hoop with us over the crown of the head. Again, trying to make our sit bones even with one another. And once you feel like that right thigh is back and the left outer hip is forward, even with the inner thighs drawing back, think of the sit bones moving away from each other to either side of the mat. Notice where you're grounding in your feet and try not to grip the mat. And then from there, if the hoop is still behind your heart, can you help move the heart forward? And extend behind the pubic bone, moving back, feeling that string again, that was in the cat-cow, but the crown of the head moving forward and the string coming out to the pubic bone. Your next inhale, go ahead and slowly rise up. Bring the hoop down, placing it in between the feet, and then we'll step this front foot back. Find yourself in plank pose. Let's find a chaturanga, shall we? You can bring your knees down if you'd like, but we'll lower ourselves all the way down to the earth. Feel the inner thighs are higher than the outer hips. Press down on the toes, and then inhale the heart forward and up. Bringing the elbows back behind you. Trying to let the eyes of the armpits see the ceiling. Exhale will come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Grounding down into both hips onto the earth, bringing the navel towards your spine, lifting up, seeing how far can those shoulder blades move down the back. Press into those toes and come back down. On your last one, think of the energy really coming from the toes. Maybe even the knees and the thighs lift as you inhale and come on up. And exhale, you'll come down. Curl the toes under and help your way to plank, then down dog. Releasing breath out the mouth is a good way to release, especially in between sides. Bringing the big toes towards one another. We'll inhale the left foot to the sky, lifting with the inseam of the leg. Then exhale, step it forward to your high lunge. Bringing this hoop to the outside of that front leg. And inhale to your high lunge. We'll exhale and bring that hand down. Come to the tippy toes of that back foot. Think of both inner thighs drawing behind, towards the back wall. Have this back thigh really active, and then exhale, try to find the very base of those back toes. Using the energy of the back foot to help bring this back hip forward. Bring that pubic bone back behind you so that we can find this nice spinal extension. Inhaling the right hand to the sky. And finding the little curvature in your spine as you bend into that front leg. Breathing here. And we'll exhale, coming back. We'll step this back foot in slightly to find a warrior one. Staying really grounded in the entire foot of that back foot, not just the outer foot. And from there, go ahead and bring the hoop behind you, walking it down. If you ever feel like you get tennis elbow from this, like if your arms are too straight, bend your elbows. It's totally fine to have bent elbows. In fact, it sometimes can help you roll your shoulders back a little bit more if you have bent elbows. So mess around and see what is best for you. And then from here, using that back foot and this front foot to power up the legs and feel the inner thighs drawing away from one another and back. Find that nice sweet spot behind your heart with the hoop, and find the pubic bone moving back to help Begin that arch, and then inhale, the heart scoops up and back as you're in this warrior one. Drawing the shoulder heads towards the hips. Drawing the heart towards the chin, towards the nose. And slowly coming on out. We'll straighten this front leg, knowing you can walk the feet closer together, finding wherever is best for you. And when you find that spot, go ahead and exhale, keeping the navel to the low back. We'll fold over this front leg. Feel the top of that, of the calf moving forward as the thigh of that front leg is moving up and back. How can you create some more space in your pubic bone, in your pubic area? How can we make more space there? You can ask yourself these questions and become your own teacher. And of course, I'm going to tell you the answer as well. But it's nice to start saying to yourself, what can I do here? What are my natural tendencies? And what do I keep hearing as the same instruction over and over again? Gosh, it's annoying, isn't it? I'm just kidding. But it's so good to just, yoga, it kind of sometimes can be the same instruction over and over. But when we hear it, it's as if our body hears it. So can you think of those inner thighs drawing back, away from each other, and the sit bones moving away from each other, so much so that the outer hips are kind of moving forward a little bit more. Do you feel like you'd like more at the top body of opening the chest, then lift the hoop and up and off the body? And stay here for a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift on up. And this time we'll bring the hoop to the top of the mat and step this back foot in. Take a moment here, find your grounding with both feet close to each other. And let's bend into the knees, bring the hoop to the tops of the thighs. We're going to find a chair pose with the inner thighs drawing down, the groins drawing down. Let the tailbone get heavy. See what that does to the low belly. Can it make you feel a little bit more compact in this whole area of the hips and the outer sides of the front and the back? Can you think of kind of finding your middle? We call that abducting or adducting, drawing everything in. From there, go ahead and inhale the hoop to the sky. And then exhale, lean the heart forward, bring the hoop forward. Keep the knees bent, bring it to the tops of your thighs, and then straighten the legs and bring the crown of the head heavy to the earth. Inner thighs drawing away from each other, outer hips drawing over the hoop. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands inside the hoop. We'll inhale, flat back once again. Hold onto the hoop now with either hand and lift all the way back up, bringing the hoop behind you to these cactus arms and then reaching high. Inner thighs drawing back, pubic bone drawing back, and find this nice heart opener. If you'd like to go further, instead of having the cactus arms, you can reach the hands up and back. Letting some forceful full breaths come out. And then inhale and exhale, come back to center, bringing the hoop around you. Great. So we'll come on down to the ground. Actually first we'll do a camel and then a bridge, or if you choose to go to a wheel pose, and then we'll lay down for Shavasana. So first we'll come down to our legs, our knees. Have the toes flat at first. Press down into the toes. If you feel like your shins are making connection, press down into the shins as well. You can use the hoop to kind of help find the ground. I don't know about you, but my shins just don't really make connection here unless I have a blanket. But anyways, even while pressing down into the feet, think of the outer ankles drawing towards one another. Feel the shins drawing towards one another. Feel the outer hips drawing towards one another. Inner thighs drawing back. Then from there, we'll inhale, press the hoop down. Press down into the floor to get more length in the body. And then we'll exhale and find this curve in our spine. See how, it doesn't matter how far you go, but bringing the shoulder heads away from the throat. How long can you make the throat? Being in control of the head, not letting the head just fall down towards the feet. But then coming back to your base. How's your base doing? Is everything drawing in towards one another? Take one more breath. And then exhale, come on back. We'll sit back on our heels. And place the hoop to the side. I think we're going to be done with it now. Yeah, we are. We're going to find the bridge pose and then a twist, and then we'll be done. Whoops. My phone always has so much battery until, anyways, it's telling me it's 20%. Coming down to the ground. We'll bring our heels towards the booty. And then even from here, we're going to be talking about the inner thighs are still drawing down. Get that nice arch in the low back. Make sure that the back is not on the ground whatsoever. So what we'll do here is keep that curvature, keep the pubic bone. Oh my gosh, I love both of the dogs. Keep the pubic bone drawing towards the earth. Feel really planted in the big toe side of your feet. And then bring attention to the outer toes as well, the outer pinky toes. From there, keeping that curvature in that low back the entire time. Let's robot arms, lift the hips, using the heels to help lift the hips and keep that curvature the entire time as you move up. When you get there, you can roll the shoulders underneath. You can bring your hands underneath the body if you'd like, with the clasped hands, or just stay at robot arms, either or. But it's like you're trying to bring the very head of your shoulders onto the earth, the very tops of them, the parts of your shoulder that get sunburned. You're trying to get that part onto the earth. From there, if your booty is flexed, think of, you can wiggle jiggle it out a little bit if you'd like. Inner thighs drawing down and away from each other as the outer hips are lifting. Make sure to breathe. Make sure all the toes and the base of the toes are on the earth. And slowly lower down. You can come to your tippy toes to help lower vertebrae by vertebrae. And then we'll find one more back bend. So you can either do the bridge pose that we just did, or you can find wheel pose by bringing your do either one of you want to try that? I've never actually taught wheel pose. Nope. But go ahead and do bridge pose again if that's the one that you'd like. But before you go into it, find the curvature of the low back. And then use the heels to lift that whole curvature up towards the sky. And then bring the shins towards your nose while doing this. But if you wanted to find the wheel pose, you would bring your hands on either side of your ears. Your elbows would be looking up. Your fingers would be pointing towards your toes. And then you would lift your hips up, bring your hands onto the ground, and then lift your head to just the base of the head for a moment. Bring the elbows towards one another, and then you would lift up from there. And if you're in wheel pose, the shins would still be moving towards the crown of your head. Let's see how you guys are doing. Nice, you both look great. And then when you're ready, you can come on down. Have your feet wide like we did. We started in the beginning of practice. Your arms out at shoulder height. And then knock both knees over towards the right, turning your gaze over the left. Using this as an opportunity to breathe deep if needed. Inversions can really increase our heart and increase our breath. But have the breathing, even if you're breathing deep, to have the intention of, I'm going to slow you down. If you want to take this further, you can always put your right foot on top of your left knee. One more breath here. And then come back up. Bring that right foot back onto the ground as wide as it was to begin with. And then knock the knees over towards the left, turning the gaze over the right. Knowing that exhales out the mouth sometimes can help us decrease the rate at which we're breathing. If you put the foot on last time, or if you wanted to try it this time, feel free to. Possibly letting the eyes close if they're not already. Letting out any more exhales out the mouth that you want. Knowing that Shavasana is coming up really soon. Come back to the center. Bring both feet onto the ground. Before we move to Shavasana, again, bringing the pubic bone forward, keeping that curvature in the low back, and then bringing the knees in to the middle and straightening both legs together towards the sky. Try to feel as though the shoulder blades are moving down. Your head is heavy into the ground, the very base of your head, even from right and left. Having your hands at the tops of your thighs. Take one more deep breath here. Extend through the heels up towards the sky. And bend the knees. Put the feet onto the ground. And slowly lower both of them at the same time to the earth. Letting the feet open up, letting the arms open up. Feel as though when you are inhaling, the entire middle of you, from the inner feet, the inner heels, the whole inner part of your legs, your whole middle where your belly button is, your middle of your ribs, your heart, the middle of your throat, the middle of your mouth, the nostrils, the middle of the eyes, and the middle of the forehead. They just all exuberate light when you breathe in, and light when you exhale. Feel how light your body can be in this sense. I mean weight, not just exuberating brightness. But with the inhales, the brightness of yourself. See how light your body can feel on the ground. Almost as if you are levitating. Enjoy your Shavasana. I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Before completely coming out of Shavasana, feel the shoulders, the shoulder heads moving down and into the mat, away from the chin. Feel the sides of your neck getting really long and seeing how when we move the pubic bone back, it's almost as if we're doing the same thing with the curve in our cervical spine here. So feel the shoulder heads moving down. Feel the sides of the neck begin to get really long. Feel the base of your head as if it's moving up the mat while the shoulders are moving towards the bottom of your mat. And tap into the curves in your spine. See how prominent you can make the curves before coming out of Shavasana. As we were breathing in the beginning of class, feeling that the inhales can start to stretch the skin. And the exhales can help relax. And then roll over to one side when you're ready. Bringing your hands to your heart. And thank you for joining in this practice. Give your body gratitude. Give your muscular and bone structure gratitude. And can't wait to practice with you again. Namaste.